Paul and Joshua happening in December. Anything, any prediction on how it will go? Yeah, if it's not handicapped, Anthony Joshua will knock him out.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
I respect them both. It's not a fight I even thought of. It's nothing to do with me to start with. It come out of the blue, but it's intriguing. And I think from Jake's perspective, he's had a lot of criticism about he is a pro boxer now. The way you want to look at it, he trains as a pro, but, and he's fighting as a pro.
Rules, 10-ounce gloves. So they're the little ones that I knock people out with. And when AJ's got them on, trust me, you can feel them knuckles through the gloves. Big heavyweight with the same size gloves as what I had on. So it's not 14 or 16 ounces what you spar in.
Shannon Sharpe confronting Jake Paul live on air over the Anthony Joshua fight would be pure chaos. One of those explosive moments that gets replayed for years. Jake Paul's strange rise from YouTuber to headline boxer has already split the sports world, with some calling his matchup with Joshua genius matchmaking, and others labeling it a circus. The Netflix hype, the ticket frenzy, and the non-stop debate are fueling the fire, but Shannon adds a real spark. As a Hall of Famer with a commanding voice and zero fear calling out disrespect to boxing tradition, he doesn't tiptoe, he detonates. That intensity is what makes the entire scenario feel so volatile and unforgettable.
Andrew Joshua won the gold medal. Didn't he win the gold medal for the super heavyweights in the Olympics?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know Anthony Joshua's history, but I'm thinking about ring experience. That's pretty much it. And I commend Jake Paul for what he's done. I commend him for the work he's put in and how serious he's taken the sport, from going from a YouTuber and actually taking it seriously and dedicating his life to boxing and entertaining, in his own lane and creating a lane for himself in the sport. So you can't handicap a fight like this too, huh?
He won the gold medal, Ocho, in the 2012 Olympics in London.
Yeah.
And the super heavyweight, same one Klitschko, the same one.
A moment like this explodes instantly because Jake Paul does what he always does. He stirs the pot with trash talk, marketing heat, and bold claims that ignite social media, a style his fans love and purists resent, until Shannon Sharpe rises and the whole room freezes. His eruption isn't random, but rooted in two instincts: defending the sport's tradition and demanding accountability from anyone who steps into its spotlight. To him, boxing is blood, craft, and lineage, and when someone like Jake jumps straight to the main event table, it can feel like the sport is being cheapened. So he calls out anything he views as disrespect or reckless bravado. That's why his explosiveness is bull. Line hit so hard, turning a live broadcast into a viral flashpoint replayed nonstop. Instantly, social media fractures into camps. Some praising Shannon for protecting the sport, others insisting Jake represents boxing's evolution with new eyes, new money, and a new audience. The clash underscores where boxing stands in 2025, a crossroads where legacy fighters, influencers, streaming platforms, and viral drama collide in real time. All of this unfolds as the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight, once just a rumor, becomes official for December 19th in Miami, shocking many who doubted Jake would ever face a two-time heavyweight champion. The chaos deepens when Logan Paul corners Daniel Cormier in a hallway and forces a reaction, prompting Cormier to defend Jake's growth as a legitimate boxer while still recoiling at the idea of him fighting Joshua. Meanwhile, Joshua vows a ruthless comeback, promising to break the internet and any illusion that he's done, while Tyson Fury surprisingly predicts Jake Paul will knock AJ out, calling Joshua a spent force. The matchup continues generating waves. Contract conditions, weight limits, and pre-fight drama, while Tommy Fury mocks Paul from afar and Carl Froch dismisses Joshua's legacy altogether, arguing AJ was exposed at the elite level and is now simply cashing in. All of these voices, contradictions, and emotion eruptions swirl together into one truth. Boxing is loud, messy, evolving, and very much alive, and moments like Shannon Sharpe versus Jake Paul are lightning bolts that electrify the sport long before the bell ever rings.
I did say a year ago when he got splattered by Daniel Dubois that he's finished now. He won't get that confidence back. He's not had any confidence, in his head. No belief for a long time. And I don't think he can get back to world level. There's a couple of new young guns now coming up and coming through. It's like a changing of the guard. And when Usyk retires, I don't know what Daniel Dubois is going to do next, but what Daniel Dubois did to him, then he went on and lost to Usyk. But there's a few new heavyweights coming through, Moses Atalma, just to mention one. And you wouldn't start putting AJ in with any of these young up-and-comers that can punch hard, because I just don't think he's got the chance, because the ambition and the desire is going to be gone. So AJ most definitely is cashing out, and you can't fault him. Fair play to him. He's going to get a massive payday, maximise his exit.
Carl Froch emphasized that Anthony Joshua's true legacy, in his view, is the way he revived mainstream interest in boxing, drawing massive crossover audiences who tuned in not because they were hardcore fans, but because AJ made every event feel monumental, bringing stadium-sized energy back to the sport. Froch argued that while this impact was great for boxing, it didn't equate to a Hall of Fame resume, one built on consecutive title defenses and victories over elite opponents, and he insisted this wasn't meant as disrespect. He admitted that the Jake Paul fight tarnished Joshua's legacy slightly, framing it as part of the clown world era, where big money outweighs prestige, and suggesting AJ was cashing out at the cost of long-term respect. Still, David Benavidez praised Paul for accepting such a dangerous challenge, even while predicting Joshua would likely knock him out, stressing that AJ is a multiple-time champion and Olympic gold medalist whose experience dwarfs Paul's. Meanwhile, Lawrence Oakley offered to train Jake Paul in Puerto Rico, curious about what gave Paul confidence to face a 250-pound former world champion on a global Netflix stage. Having sparred with both men, Oakley acknowledged a huge gap in size and skill, but admitted that strange upsets do happen, while noting that if Paul landed something meaningful early, the fight could become unexpectedly tense. Though AJ is expected to weigh over 250 pounds on fight night, Oakley doesn't believe he'll end things in the first round, suggesting Joshua may treat the match as a tune-up after his long layoff. He explained that AJ's reach, size, and rhythm present Jake's biggest challenges, but wondered aloud whether Paul's coaches see something hidden that the public doesn't. Reflecting on the past, Oakley joked that his mother once forbade him from ever fighting Joshua, though she'd allow it now if circumstances demanded it. Into this debate stepped Johnny Nelson, who said Joshua has entered a no-win situation, taking the fight for what he believes is a $50 million payday, because if Paul goes the distance, AJ looks diminished, and if AJ knocks him out, it's merely what everyone expects. Nelson highlighted the strict 245-pound weight limit, the professional 10-ounce gloves, and the fact that this is a real fight, not a spectacle like Mayweather-McGregor, meaning Paul is genuinely risking himself. He argued that most viewers simply want to see Paul get humbled, but that if Joshua, who hasn't been the same since being knocked out by Du Bois, struggles in any way, it will raise questions about whether he has shifted from hungry champion to pure businessman. With Joshua's path back to a world title narrowing in Fury, still the biggest name he could chase, Nelson believes both AJ and Paul are taking advantage of boxing's unpredictable modern climate. Finally, promoter Frank Warren called the matchup a car crash waiting to happen, insisting it looks like a foregone conclusion but will still draw enormous numbers, and criticized Joshua for choosing the safe, lucrative route rather than facing names like Moses Atama, yet acknowledging that fans will watch precisely because of the chaos surrounding it.
It's not a fight I even thought of. It's nothing to do with me to start with. It come out of the blue, but it's intriguing. And I think from Jake's perspective, he's had a lot of criticism about, he is a pro boxer now. The way you want to look at it, he trains as a pro, but, and he's fighting as a pro. They said it's about time he fought some. I've seen some of the stuff, that's been said. When's he going to fight someone? Well, he's gone from one extreme to the other. That's what he's doing. So if that fight happens, you've got to take your hat off to him.
He got called out by Andre Ward, AJ. Would you rather see Jake fight AJ, which is obviously, as we know, a mismatch, or Andre Ward, who's been retired for, 4 years?
I'd much rather see AJ fight Tyson.
Oh, please. I dread to think how many times
we don't know if
you've
that's
done
going to
this.
happen, because the big man, he's filming, he's not made his mind up what he's going to do.
It is widely expected that Anthony Joshua will still meet Tyson Fury next year regardless of the controversial Jake Paul fight, with Eddie Hearn confirming that talks are progressing and Saudi chairman Turki Al-Sheikh helping drive negotiations, aiming for a February return followed by a Fury showdown in 2026. While Frank Warren insists the final decision rests solely with Fury, depending on his desire and the size of the offer, Ariel Helwani has weighed in, rejecting claims that facing Paul damages Joshua's legacy by noting that even greats like Ali and Foreman took part in spectacle-style bouts, though he voiced serious concern for Paul's safety given the real dangers of heavyweight power. Recalling Francis Ngannou lying motionless after being knocked out, Meanwhile, Jake Paul continues to fuel the storm with bold predictions, vowing to knock out and embarrass Joshua on December 19th in what he calls Judgment Day, despite Joshua's proven pedigree and physical advantages. As Joshua remains out of action since his brutal defeat to Du Bois and sees this matchup as a tune-up before February plans, rising heavyweight Moses Atama criticized Paul's team for proving the fight, calling it financially tempting but dangerously irrational, even while crediting Paul for his contributions to boxing, especially on the women's side. Still, Paul insists he will silence every critic once and for all, claiming that beating Joshua will erase all doubt and cement his path to a world title opportunity, setting the stage for one of the most polarizing showdowns in modern boxing.